was a really long time ago. And I think that if we're having a look at where these two teams have ended up since then, yes, DNS have stepped it up, but DRX, I think, have as well, and I would say probably a little bit more. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one's going to go, because I could be completely wrong. We could see DNS really turn this one around. Maybe Pioshik just rolls heads every single time. We know that when he does that, he tends to go on a roll and then wins Worlds. So that could be a thing that could happen here today, or at least the beginning of it, heading towards first stand. But of course, that is a long way in the future. No one's heading to Brazil just yet, although I have a feeling Gen G might.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high variance series, but I think game by game, it's going to be hard to scope out exactly how things develop.
Yep, now we can see how the draft develops, because we're here right now.
Bard being banned, it's first pick for the DN Supers, so they get a little bit more space to be targeted. Taking away Andal's Bard, I think, is a great call. Yunara away from Jiwoo as well.
Very targeted bans here.
Yeah, and I think just not too surprising. I expect a Rumble ban to come through from DRX. Nothing too surprising in that regard. And then the question comes down to those mid laners, because especially if you're going Nico ban as well, which makes sense, right? Nico's been a great pick, but also Peter specifically has been phenomenal on it. Starts to make you wonder about mid laners. So do the DN Supers now look to ban one of those, potentially look to try and get one of them uncontested, try and get Rumble uncontested? What is the play here?
I think ban Orianna, and then force a Rumble ban, because that's probably still going to be necessary, and then you get Azir without having to worry about Orianna. Or you take away the Nocturne to make the Orianna less scary, because I think if you're having a look at these two mid laners, Closer clearly wants to play Azir, and Yukao clearly wants to play Orianna. That's how it feels in my mind. The problem is Jarvan is still there, so it could still be picked alongside a pretty decent ball carrier as far as the Orianna is concerned, and they didn't ban Rumble. So I guess that's going to be the first pick instead.
Yep. So I guess in this situation, you have to take the Rumble, and then you end up trading the mid laners. I think the Nocturne obviously means that DRX can't take Orianna Nocturne together, which is, you know, I feel like you have a lot more power to do that on the second pick side. And that combo is, I mean, DNS know how much that combo can threaten. They're a team who are very good at using it themselves. Also protects the Nocturne for Pioshik. It's been a pick that's pretty good for him, so saves it for later in the series.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Ambessa are going to be locked in here. I'd kind of like that to be a jungle pick. I actually quite like Rich on Ornn. I feel like he's done relatively well, and we've seen that, I mean, Ornn's picked up solo kills against Rumbles towards the top side of the map, and that was against Keen. So that might be an avenue of success instead. Wow, this is actually not what I was expecting out of DRX. Priority on the Azir instead of the Orianna. Especially when you can kind of public execution into the backline on the Ambessa and deliver a ball that way. Could be a kind of cool way to make things happen. But instead, the Pigeon going to be locked in, and that will allow the Pantheon to go to Pioshik. Oh my goodness, and then there's the Orianna as well. We've seen this exact lineup of picks. I think it was B&K that picked it into T1 and demolished with it.
Yeah, the Pantheon Orianna, it's not quite Nocturne Orianna, but it does a pretty good job of setting up the ball. You can dive in super aggressively, point and click CC, and then just the shockwave to follow. This is a really strong topside for the DN Supers, and now DRX will be going for that one you talked about into the Rumble. So a matchup, obviously we have seen that solo kill that Shiwa managed to get, which was pretty crazy.
Yep.
Into Keen, of all things. But generally, you're just looking to scale up to that Kanik Rukin, then you can just survive the matchup, hit that late game scaling. Definitely feels like DRX are going to be on the back foot on the top side in terms of that early pressure, and looking just to try and survive a little bit until the later stages. And we do start seeing 80 carries banned out with Kai'Sa and Lucian taken away immediately here.
I feel like Kai'Sa's kind of awkward in the DN Supers composition, but you can understand it. There is certainly a lot of dive. Pantheon Kai'Sa does work quite well together. And so getting rid of that one to not allow Dokdam to play it. What I want to see out of DRX is a lot of aggression in the bottom lane. I want to see early game power. I want to see lane dominance, because elsewhere we are scaling all over the place. And we saw it didn't work when I keep going back to the last series, but T1 tried an Azir on composition, and they just didn't get off the ground.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work out. And this is, I think it might have been in a very similar situation. It might have even been that game where they played the Rumble Pantheon Orianna, and it just started to do things a little bit faster. As Poppy going to be taken away here. Let's see what Geo is going to be locking in. I wouldn't mind something like a Kalista, you know? But there is still a lot on the table. Maybe it could be dangerous to run into it right now.
So risky, because if you go Kalista, they can just go Ashe Seraphine.
That's a good point.
And the thing is, if you go Ashe intending to go Ashe Seraphine, do they just go something, maybe like a Blitzcrank? That's a huge threat in this situation. They're going to go Ezreal, go something safe. But obviously you can have that mid-game pressure. And it looks like, I think Jhin fits with the DN Super's composition.
I don't like
inspire a huge amount of joy, especially into an Ornn.
Yeah, I don't like it.
But this composition for the DN Supers, you are looking to sort of spike in the mid-game, and it'll definitely be able to follow up an ults there. As long as the Ornn doesn't hit like super late game, it's not going to be too much of a problem. And you have a lot of damage in the composition in general, so...
Yep. I think DRX knew that they wanted to pick the Ezreal. Now the Kai'Sa ban makes all that much more sense, as I think they were just aiming for that from the beginning. As Jhin Alistar, not exactly a awe-inspiring bottom lane. And let's see what Andal wants to do. Could just be the Karma if he would like to. I'd prefer to see something else, and I think Nautilus is pretty free, given the fact that there is an Alistar already there. I think that your lane prospects are still looking kind of okay up against the Jhin Alistar, and so he can go towards the champion that he's been really dominating on. And I really like to see it. Andal just hopping out on the best foot forward straight away.
Yeah, I think getting comfort for him in this situation, but I think honestly DN Super is having Rumble Pantheon such a strong top jungle, the Orianna as well, linking with that. And it feels like they just picked the Jhin Alistar just to kind of have, you know, the Alistar for the setup, the Jhin for the follow-up. Feels like they kind of got everything they wanted in this game one.
I would agree. And I think even if they picked, you know, Teemo Zillion in the bottom lane, it would have still been fine because that top side is just so incredibly powerful. I feel like, you know, Zillion's fine. I don't know why I used that as an example of a bad bottom lane, but stuff with Teemo is just generally not going to work out.
I think Teemo Zillion doesn't sound too convincing.
It doesn't sound too good. I just feel like...
You can speed him up and he can just blind people.
Yeah,
you know?
see?
He can run around
really be able to guarantee the blind. Is this Calyx? Here on the DRX side, I'm pretty sure. So I think we are there as well. As Bulldog, of course, formerly of the DN Supers, or I guess the DN Freaks back in his day. But obviously supporting them. So let's see who is going to be happy after this one. As a lot of scaling over on the side of DRX and the DN Supers with that awe-inspiring top side of the map. And then some pretty solid bottom lane as well. Let's get into it. Game number 1 of this lower bracket best of 5. All right, DN Supers fans a little bit unsure as to the cadence of the call out, but hopefully they figure that one out as we get further on. DRX like a well-oiled machine. Let's see whether that is going to be represented on the Rift as well, because we know fan chants have very, very high impact in the outcome of the game.
Yeah,
and that fan chant was a bit messy on the DNS side. That command attack, though, seemed fine. So maybe Closer not suffering from it just yet.
So, interestingly, both supports opting to go Aftershock. I think it completely makes sense on the Nautilus. He is quite squishy. Those extra resistances go a long way. But seeing on the Alistar as well, I feel like a pick that we've seen a lot more spellbook on.
Yeah.
But really valuing that extra tankiness, particularly in the early game, before you have that ult available. And Andal going the Ignite, so wanting that extra pressure in the 2v2.
Ooh, he didn't calibrate. Although they do have a ward there, so a little bit of a sidestep, I guess, playing a part. But you can see right now, a bit of biffo here towards the bottom side of the map. No one throwing out any tempo spells just yet. As heal into Ignite feels good for DRX. See whether they can play around it.
I think as well, with it being a Jhin into an Ezreal, with the lethal tempo Ezreal, you get it stacked up, you get your passive stacked up, you have so much sustained damage in comparison to a Jhin who is stuck on that reload.
Yeah. I do really feel like Jhin is reloading most of the time. I know he gets 4 bullets and then it's a reload, but it really feels like he's reloading between every bullet.
Time spent reloading is...
It's just significantly high, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Andal, he's looking for it. Gonna start this one up. Does have the pulverize there from Peter, but hits the hook onto Docdom. Andal just, you know, trying to put some fear into his opposition. Not really finding too much more other than that. DRX with control of the wave for the moment. as the cannon is going to get pulled underneath this turret, and at least Dr. is going to be able to use that force shot in order to take that one down. Wasn't reloading that time.
Yeah, I think if you're using the aftershock and the shield from the Nautilus well, you are able to go for those sort of aggressive trades, but, you know, into Alistair, he's just going to sustain up from the passive. He's not able to achieve too much. It is the first strike Rumble again, so just looking to farm up gold from the Ornn where possible.
Yep, good old money printer Rumble.
And that's the plan.
Well, Pioshik moving over here. Andal is having a little bit of a look around as there is Willa in the vicinity. He wants to take this Rift Scuttler, but there's the flash headbutt pull from Peter looking for Willa as Deadly Flourish is going to follow up. Pioshik now turns on to Willa, who manages to get the dash to get away and then just does Ambessa things in order to be absolutely all right. Looks like Pioshik going to be able to grab the Scuttle Crab, and DRX did not lose first blood to a Scuttle fight.
Yeah, able to get away from that one, but it was a scary situation. And it's, again, dealing with the threat of the Pantheon in the early game, Peter with the initial setup, and also just the fact you have a Jhin. He's always going to be able to contribute to the fight first with that root.
Another hook in from Andal, feeling really good about that one. Peter taking a lot of damage. As Doctom also good accuracy on those Mystic shots from Gio.
Yeah, good trades, and also Peter burnt his heal in that early skirmish, so...
And his flash.
Yeah, so down sums there, puts him in a really fragile position.
Ooh, managed to get the cannon there. I was a little bit worried.
If Andal connects, it could just be kill threat. If Gio lands all his skills, the potential is there. They have to play really on the defensive in this position. Should be a plate potentially in this situation too now. Maybe not in this wave.
Yeah, Mystic shots connecting, and another one there. Gio actually having a pretty good day here, as Doctom, only a couple more, and then he could be in lethal range, like you were talking about, as Rich. Not going to quite get the knocker, but is going to be, I guess, all right for the moment. Has built a null magic mantle for himself, which is helping with these flame spitters, but Dudu having a very good time, and is actually ahead by an entire wave right now. There's a teleport back from Rich, but there's no cannon in this wave, so they actually miss a couple of melees as he turtle ports his way up there. And it's so interesting seeing Yukal on the Azir side of this matchup. I swear every single time there's the trade of Orianna Azir, he is on the Orianna. Andal thinking about going for something, but doesn't have his flash. Level 6 there for Yukal.
He seems to be doing pretty okay so far, though, so...
Yeah, sort of like it's all calm on Summoner's Rift for the moment. I'm expecting this game to turn silly at some point.
Yeah, waiting for it.
Now, it might happen right now as Pioshik dives in. Willer is in the vicinity, though. Only level 5, so doesn't have that public execution, as now Gio and Doctom are fighting for the moment. I imagine Gio does have a bit more consistent damage, though, as Peter just has to get out of there. Pioshik in a lot of trouble, but he's got the Aegis to mitigate that damage and will be able to escape. But DRX do manage to win out and get a little bit of positional control around this river. Yeah,
a lot of cooldowns from DNS just dumped into the Nautilus, and it gave Willa so much free reign there in that fight. Ambessa able to get a lot of damage down in return, made things a little scary.
Yeah, Doctom and Peter now underneath this turret with a little bit of respite, but Gio going to go back home. See whether he can collect himself a Sheen or something like that on this particular back.
Level 6 is going to come in soon for Pioshik here, so once that ult's available, you know, it's not just the fact that you have all that global pressure, you also get the free armor pen with it. He's going to be pretty scary to deal with.
Andal is now Willa's support.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like.
I mean, you have an Ezreal, why not?
Yep. Let's park him down there. Does have a wave to deal with now. Arcane shifted, I believe, to pick up one of the minions that was falling down, if judging by the minimap has anything to do with it. DNS moving up to about a 200 gold lead just based on how these lanes are doing, and I imagine that is almost all Dudu, who is, you know, doing the money printer thing, but is also ahead by about a wave. But Rich, obviously, is just happy wearing a cape and building stuff and all that sort of stuff here towards the top side.
He's getting pressured out a good amount, though, so... Grub's up in about a minute 15. Rich is pretty low on mana, getting chunked out, and he doesn't have TP. So unless he can find a reset, he's just not going to be of any real use if they try and set up for the Grubs. Might have to give that over if DNS opt to contest it.
Yep, Gio and Andal back to it here towards the bottom side, as Andal has decided to join his other AD carry that isn't Ambessa. First Drake going to be a Mountain. So that is not going to be the Soul. How are we feeling about the Chemtech scenario here? Orcs, do you think that you'll be able to pay enough attention to guarantee that we do not get a Chemtech Soul, or is it doomed?
I'll do my best.
All right. I'm going to try my very best to get us a Cloud Soul. That's what I'm going to do.
I'd like a Cloud.
I like zipping around the map.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of Cloud Soul value, I guess. Like, there's not those champions that feel really good with it, like Nocturne and Sivir and things like that.
It's just like the flat movement speed. It's okay.
It does just feel good.
Yeah.
To walk faster.
I do think, obviously, Compier Mountain. I mean, Infernal Soul pretty big. Hextech's always crazy.
Yep.
Ocean, not the worst Ocean game. It's honestly not even the worst Chemtech angle for like the DRX comp with like Ambessa on.
It's a good point, actually. Maybe Chemtech would actually be the dream. Maybe we need to.
Okay, let's not go that
for
far.
a Chemtech Drake.
Let's not go that far.
I'm almost ready to go that far. Maybe it's time for justice for Chemtech Soul.
No, I don't think so.
It's not. Okay.
No.
I always need to test to make sure that we're not getting there. That's all right. Rich, pretty happy as he's made his way back up there. He is still 10 CS behind, but now it's 8. So he's moving up. And if this game continues on like this keel, DRX are extraordinarily happy. We have to, point out that DNS's comp doesn't scale badly or anything like that, but it's Ornazir and Ezreal. They're very happy to go later on into the game. There's tons of CC with this Nautilus as well. And so DNS, very happy that they can pick up this first dragon, because I think Drakes are going to be really important for this composition to keep themselves in control.
Yeah, so opting to go for the Drake instead of going for the grubs. I mean, Rich did get that recall off, so he was healthy anyway, but prioritizing that. And I think it feels bad to pick up a mountain and then see the Hextech after.
Yeah, true.
I think in terms of the souls you might be setting up for, it just doesn't feel too positive.
It means that Chemtech or Cloud are both available, though. So I'm very happy about that. We'll have to see exactly which one it's going to be.
Still a gamble.
I don't know why I'm so enthusiastic about the Chemtech angle. It's weird. Maybe I've been playing too much Zorn in TFT.
Yeah.
I've just got that sort of like Chemtech vibe. I don't know. Anyway, Rich versus Dudu is not exactly the lane that we really want to be watching for action's sake, but that really does tell you at what point in the game we're at. We're at the bro and brew side of things.
You at least get to see the first strike proc, and you get the nice little noise it makes when he gets the gold cash in. That's something at least.
Gio is just happily watching these minions go down. Is Peter taking a bit of damage? There's another hook. Very nice one. True Shot Barrage. A lot of value here as Peter may actually have to ult, and he does. But still in a little bit of trouble. Has to use the heal at the same time as Andal and Gio are doing a whole lot of work. But there's the curtain call. Gio tanks up one of them. Let's see whether they can get the sidestep off as he holds the last bullet and misses onto the Ezreal. So Dr. I'm not exactly finding a lot of joy, but he is looking very healthy. Just Peter a little worse for wear.
Yeah, and I think DRX feeling pretty good about that. Managing to get barrier and heal from the side of DNS.
Oh, that's a bit of a cheeky stop.
Pressure here. Also, that ward. Do you see that ward that's outside the brush, by the way?
Yeah. Little unfortunate. Not getting a lot of work done. It's a lazy ward, that one. Oh, dear.
Gio's gonna clear it.
Skara would be so proud of that ward. He would be so
Okay, it's
proud.
gone. At least it's gone. Okay, it never happened.
Yeah. It's just sitting in Gio's wallet now, and it's a little keepsake.
Yeah.
This silly little ward that did nothing. Oh dear. Well, UCal here just clearing waves in the mid lane. 3 minutes on any sort of neutral objective turning up, so there is no reason to fight right now. But we might just be setting up for a random Scuttle team fight. There's a hook connecting somehow. That was a weird angle. As Pyosik dashing in, but Willer is on his way out there, so buffers it to avoid any sort of misposition. And DNS will back away, as do DRX. So things just completely even, and I'm just waiting for some stuff to happen. I think if like Double Dragon comes through for DNS, then maybe we could talk about them actually having a real advantage. But so far, nothing for either side has really put anyone in the lead, as now Peter might be out of position. Remember, does have his ultimate back off cooldown now. But there's an Emperor's Divide. They look for Pyosik. It's kind of a miss situation there from Willer's ultimate, but it doesn't matter. That is going to be a trade as UCal goes down, but so does Pyosik. Another anchor comes in, but it's great pulverize there from Peter as the Ornn has turned up, and Rich is going to throw a ram at the cow and then get himself out of there. Doesn't quite find it, but it's a good flash there from Peter. Now Dudu with a flamethrower in a dream is just going to take out the Ornn, and flash out there from Willer gets him over the wall. DNS find the team fight, and walk away with a 700 gold lead.
I just love how you were setting up like there's no reason to fight right now. They don't need to fight.
Yeah.
Of course they would.
That was when they were gonna. I needed some action, and I knew that that was the only way to get it.
I want you to kind of look at what they use on the Pantheon, on Gyoshik. So there's Azir ult, there's Nautilus ult, there's Ambessa ult.
And you still flashed into the shockwave.
Yes, it still takes a lot of time to kill him, and they trade 1-for-1. And they've been a lot of their good tools to take him out. Look how low Andal and Willa are when Rich actually arrives. He pops all his cooldowns but has no follow-up. And look how healthy Dudu, Closer, and Dokdam are. So, honestly, the only thing I'll say about this is Dokdam, his ult just came up a little bit late. If his ult was up sooner, if he had mana sooner, that could have been a lot worse for DRX. That was way too many tools blown on that Pantheon. They were getting antsy, I think we could tell.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even pulling the trigger, it was 3 different people pulling the trigger at the same time. Overkill, I think, definitely, so.
I think if UCal had have actually survived, got out of that shockwave and not just died at the very beginning of the fight, could have been a different story. Has a lot of consistent damage on this Azir.
I think also if they just held some of their tools, you know, if they hadn't, they don't need to use the Ambessa ult and the Nautilus ult, pick one.
And maybe waiting for Rich to be there as well towards the beginning. I think when you can capitalize on the Ram, have a little bit of CC down beforehand to get those extra knockups, create that bounce house. These are sort of the things that DRX is going to be looking for. So a little bit suboptimal, but great for DNS to start this game off. So they now have about 1,000 gold lead. Rich with his Rook Urn though completed, and so he's starting to care less and less about what this Rumble is doing.
Yeah. The Andrew's there for Dudu, so a big spike for him, but it's so hard to really have pressure in this match. I mean, you'll push him in, you'll have that sort of pressure, but it's hard to really permanently just break through that shield again and again at this point.
Kill threat is a more difficult one to get towards, as Gyoshik going to look to try and get Willer out of here, but Banana Brush is going to be under DRX's control. Rich just gets himself out of there, and now we're starting up the Drake yet again. We do have all of DNS in the vicinity. Public Execution comes down, gets on top of Gyoshik. Once again, they really want to engage on to the Pantheon as Emperor's Divide is avoided by the Orianna, but now Closer is zoned away. Kind of a mixed up fight here as everyone's sort of all over the place. There's another solo ulti onto UCal, and he dies to the turret. Now an equalizer goes down as Peter's hunting Jiu, and there's the curtain call. I don't know whether Peter can kill him as Jiu is going to look to try and get over the wall, but never mind. Hoof to the noggin, and down goes the Ezreal. That was the opposite of all of that feedback that we gave to DRX.
Yes, they just blow everything again at the start of the fight. Once more onto the Pantheon, so they ult in, the follow-up isn't there. That's Ambess ult, that's Nautilus ult, UCal goes for Closer, and then look how uncomfortable UCal's position is here. He's like, where do I go? There's a whole enemy team there. Can I go through the turret? No, he gets shockwave into the turret. This time, Dokdam has his ult immediately, and it goes so much worse. This is how it could have gone last fight if he had a good ult setup. This time he does, and yeah, they get decimated. So, didn't learn from the last setup, it seems, with DRX. DNS did, though. They had the Jin ult available, and they immediately punished them. Managed to pick up the Dragon. It's an Ocean Soul.
Not the best, but
not great.
Not the worst. As now looking for a Rift Herald as well. DNS really starting to run away with this game now.
Yeah, this is a big goal lead. So this is really where DNS wanted to be at this point of the game. The early game was slower. It took a bit more time for them to get online, but 3.5k gold at 16 minutes.
Peter's making his way in. Dudu already there as Willow was tanking up the turret. Didn't really want to. As now Andal, speaking of didn't want to do things. Now we've got an Emperor's Divide. Dudu just immunes it completely. Flash out from Peter as the Ornn has turned up and Dudu is taking a lot of Sand Soldier auto attacks. Somehow it actually works out here for DRX. Not quite enough in the tank on the DNS side. Oh wow, is the equalizer on cooldown until Dudu died? Or did he just not use it?
I'm not. I assume it must have been on cooldown because there's no way he wouldn't have used it. He even tried to flash over the wall to finish them off and kind of failed the flash. So I assume it was on cooldown.
It was 5 seconds. So unfortunately, available from the death chamber.
I think what feels even worse about this is Pantheon's nowhere near for this play. If Pantheon was in ult range, think how badly this would have gone for DRX. But Dudu plays the initial part of this play good, right? Blocks the shuffle and then goes for the flash, but gets caught in the Azir wall. He saw Andal and Willa and was like, that's 2 free kills for me right now. And ended up kind of flubbing it and it backfiring. Really unfortunate there.
Suboptimal. We're about to head towards, 2-item spike territory, though, here for Jiu. He is going to start doing more than Dr. Arm in these fights. We have the first ornament complete on that Rook Urn for Rich. And so that is going to mitigate that gold advantage by just a little bit. And as you can see, it's only 2.6k. It's actually gone down by about 1,000. So not the end of the world here for DRX at this point in time. I think if I was Joker and I was doing a coach comms that they love to do, he'd call up and he'd say, guys, just hold on, okay? We've got it in the late game. As we often say if we're trying to be the optimistic one in solo queue.
Yeah.
As now closer. Could be Emperor's Divided. Does actually. Shockwave is going to connect there as well, and Pyoshik turns up. So Yukao just once again dead. That was an odd decision to make. As Willa and Andal just say, well, Pigeon Man, you are dead, and we will leave.
So many of the shuffles from Yukao just haven't gone well.
Yeah, it's just not quite
nice
dodge. There we go. Sidestep from Dr. Arm is beautiful.
I mean, he had flash as well, just confident in his mechanics. He
and
just
also
said, I can
didn't
do this.
have Swifties. So many Jins have Swifties, so that becomes even easier, but doesn't even have that.
Yeah, the Ghost Blade coming in clutch there for the movement speed.
True.
But just, I love the confidence, right? He has the summoner. He's like, no, I dodged those.
Yeah, absolutely did.
Yeah, so well played there. Here, Yukao again goes for a shuffle onto closer, but doesn't have the backup from the team. And I guess just forgets about the existence of Pantheon.
Yeah.
This time, you can see the difference of the play. That bot side play onto the Rumble. Pantheon wasn't there to clean up. Ended up going DRX favored, even though it took a bit of time. Here, though, they try and make a play topside. Pantheon's there, immediately shuts it down. Kind of puts in a context. We were talking about this in the pre-show. These global picks, the impact they're having. Why the Pantheon is 100% win rate in playoffs so far, the LCK Cup. It's doing pretty good. Yep,
it's just pretty exceptional right now. And it works with so many things. Like the Pantheon Rumble I've seen just be so dominant in the early stages of the game. The combination of early damage is just so high, and then later on, you can really pick out a single target and eliminate them. And then if they turn to actually try and kill you, Aegis is so broken.
Yeah, I feel like, old school Pantheon, before the rework, you just thought of him as that champion who's just so useless in the late game.
Yeah.
But he does so much damage now, and there's so much like armor pen for free on his ult, like a passive armor pen.
And the damage mitigation means that he's just not that squishy.
Yeah, he scales pretty well.
Going in. I'm just not sure whether it's a good idea, as he gets a decent little shield, keeps himself alive for a while, and now Rich is turned up, does find the Ram, as they do get the knock-up onto the Orianna. Now Will is trying to get out of there, dealing with Dudu, who's silenced himself. Peter's looking a bit worse for wear, as Jiu trying to get that damage down, now onto Dudu. Willa makes it out to safety, and Rich is just trying to clonk people over the head with his hammer. Yukao gets caught by the Deadly Flourish, but makes his way out as he shifts the sands, and Rich is able to get himself out of there. The curtains have been called, though, and the last bullet not quite enough. Yukao just outranges it. I'm not sure how most of DRX survived that, but definitely good on him.
That was crazy. Yeah, outranging. That bullet was going to hit Yukao. If
100%.
A little bit closer.
It was underground, the good old underground, so you have no idea where the curtain call's range ends.
This was a pretty manic start to the fight. So again, going for that proactive play from DRX, and they managed to take out Closer here. Not much you can do in this situation being bounce housed, but unfortunately Judy just doesn't quite have the damage to finish off Willa in this situation. And it feels like a little bit of split focus from DNS. They're just not able to finish off the targets very well, which makes sense. Jiwoo and Yukao both quite mobile. We're getting more fighting, it seems.
We are just straight into another fight. Yukao in a bit of trouble yet again. Man, he is just not having a great time this game, as now Headbutt Pulverize onto Andal, and he should be set up on a silver platter for a double kill from Dr. Arm. And if I was to give any feedback, I'd probably say get it together, Yukao. That's probably where I would be in this one. He's been out of position, and that should be Soul Point going over to DNS as Jiu looks to try and get some scraps here in this mid lane. It isn't quite able to do so. Rich is starting to become that brick wall that we expect of him, but if they fall too far behind, it will not matter about the scaling conversation. They
can just kind of ignore him and then deal with him at the end of the fight, right? The CC is a big problem, of course, but if everyone else dies first, it's not really going to be too much of a concern. And Yukao just seems to always be dying at the start of the fight.
Yeah, let's see how that... Oh, he just wandered.
Yeah.
It's another surprise Pantheon scenario.
I think it's one of these situations where you're playing a Z, you feel so safe because you have that mobility, but the combo from Peter interrupts his dash, and then, okay, game over.
Yep. Well, let's see whether Yukal can avoid death for the 5th time in this series. The first 4, we'll give them to him. They can be a freebie. And now we'll see whether he can do better. As Rich is going to miss that cannon. Suboptimal there. And has hit level 14, can start doling out some of these ornaments to his teammates, which is going to be important. Very close to level 15 as well. And so we could have, you know, the Infinity Force and stuff like that. Looking pretty good there. Isn't it? It's Trinity Fusion or something like that, isn't it? The
actually, it's just Trinity Force brackets Masterwork brackets now.
Oh no, it's not. No, I disagree. I know that that's what they did. That's because they did not want to consult me or, I guess, LS, because we were the ones who were talking about ornaments way too much back in the day. They didn't want to consult us on all of the names, and so therefore they just decided not to actually put the official names down. They still exist. They're just not written in the game.
Okay.
Because I think maybe we missed the email was in junk or something like that. We've got to get it out. Now, Andil is potentially caught out of, by potentially, I mean, he's very caught out of position. The curtains are called on Andil's life.
Yeah. Hey, Rich is still strong, right?
There you go.
That's relevant.
The Baron is probably gone.
Okay. Well, they're going to TP in. They're going to contest this.
Yeah. True Shot Barrage also gets a lot of value.
I mean, Baron takes a long time, and it is going to start chunking people out. They have Rich here. He's tanky to move in, so they move off the Baron.
Well, there is an equalizer that goes down. Pyoshik gets here as well, but we're flashing. And is the Arcane Shift going to be back? Yes, it is. Decent position there, but unfortunately, the Orb makes its way over the wall, and there is a dead 80 carry. This could be another opportunity for a Baron, as Yukal at least has a Shadow Flame that's a bit more upgraded. Just don't think that's going to quite help when Jiu is taking a bit of a dirt nap.
Okay, well, hit me with it. What's the upgraded Shadow Flame called?
It's Shadow Inferno.
Oh.
It's also the name of my first pop punk album. Pretty sure. Or my magic show.
Is that Lost Media? I would love to listen to it.
Yeah. Shadow Inferno. I really like it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the next master. What's the Spear of Sojin going to be? I have absolutely no idea. I don't think LS and I really figured that one out.
That's beyond me. Yeah. You're the expert on this.
Yeah. I'll get back to it. We were just...
You've got some time yet, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe Black Cleaver is in a better position, and we can do the Obsidian Cleaver.
That's what you're hoping for.
Officially,
probably presumably going to upgrade Jiu first, so maybe you're safe for a bit longer anyway.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Willet taking out his Grump though, and it's a 5,000 gold lead, and the Soul Point is there for DNS. Yeah. They are in so much control of this game. This is going to be a real tough one for DRX to find an angle on, and maybe they'll just have to talk to themselves about, oh, but our ornaments are mitigating so much of this gold advantage because they represent so much money's worth of stats. Haha. And I just don't know whether that's going to work if DRX continue to have their members be out of position at the beginning of these teamfights. Like, their composition, it's so good in a front to back, but don't back to front, you know? That's what you got to do.
How much gold value do you lose if your Azir just dies at the start of every fight? You know, you have to factor that in when you're calculating these things. It's like, oh, plus 1,000 for each ornament, minus, you know, 9,000, 10. How much is it? Like 11,000 maybe at this point for Yukal being dead? Maybe not even that. He doesn't have that many items. So.
Oh, by the way, from chat, what's an upgraded Bandle Pipes? A Bandle Symphony. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Honestly, I'm kind of sad Peter's not on the team with the Orn now.
I know.
He's already a Bandle Piper.
Where is the Bandle Pipes? Ugh. And Rich was our OG Bandle Piper, was he not? He was. He was the first one to... I know it was on his Cassante. Now Duda could be in a little bit of trouble and does have the equalizer down, and now the Ram comes on through. Rich seeing what he can get done here as there's the public execution to bring Willa back in. Shockwave connects onto 2 though, and DRX, I think they're running out of time as Dogsarm's going to turn up. The Emperor's Divide goes entirely wide after the flash though, and once again, Yukal immediately dies. Oh, it's just not the best day. It's now Pyoshik going to dive on top, and I think that's all she wrote on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Triple here for Dr. And DNS, I think, may have just broken the metaphorical camel's back.
Yeah, this one not looking good. Trying to find a play on the Dudu, and you know what? I think it kind of makes sense. You're trying to find a sort of pick onto someone before the start of the fight, but the problem is it's an Ornn and an Ambessa onto a pretty bulky Rumble, and you're in the enemy jungle, so of course they're going to get that pretty quickly. Yukal goes for this play, and he tries to flash to follow the flash of Knockdown, but even if he does, I mean, yeah, he maybe does manage to kill Knockdown in this situation at best, but he's dead anyway. I just feel like he's keeps going for these plays, and he just keeps ending up in bad situations. He had a Seeker's Arm Guard, didn't get a chance to use it there. The Azir just not working out.
It's just it's not really providing what it needs to. However, on the other side, this Jhin is really working.
Yeah.
Which is confusing and upsetting me.
Well, I think part of it is he didn't build Rapid Fire second.
Oh, that's a, I mean, he's going to build it fourth.
Yeah, but he has more damage items before that.
That's a good point.
Also already has the LDR, right?
The biggest deal is that he's hitting almost all of his curtain call shots in teamfights, and that's working out very effectively.
Yep. Also, Rich didn't really have armor until he bought that chain vest. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely a contributing factor.
Well, speaking of Rich, Peter with the headbutt, that was beautiful. He may still die, but he's got an unbreakable will, and that is going to keep him alive. Finds a double pulverize there as well as Equalizer goes down. Willer is definitely dead, cannot ulti out of that one, as the Emperor's Divide from the grave for Yukal does next to nothing. The Shockwave, so good out of closer, and DRX just lose 3 in the blink of an eye, and now Pyoshik is looking for even more. Down will go Jiu, and is that going to be the ace? They save Rich till last because he takes the longest time, and Jiu has an endless hunger, but unfortunately I think he's still going to be hungry, as he may not even get out of the death chamber before the Nexus explodes. DNS looking to break open the base.
And honestly, at this point, DRX, the game looks pretty doomed. 13,000 gold disadvantage, the Ocean Soul in pocket as well, pushing with the Baron. They should be able to be up in time before the game ends, but I'm not sure they can really do too much to prevent it. No, DNS look to try and finish now or back off and play it safe. Looks like they'll just push in.
Is there an Andal Penta angle? That's what we've got to see, but I don't think so. As Yukal has respawned, Hook is going to connect there onto Dudu, but they're focusing down the Nexus turrets, and Andal dies as an afterthought. Willer is trying to deal with these minions as best he can, as now Peter just wandering towards the fountain and doesn't seem too worried. Another Shockwave going to connect. The Pigeon dies on the fountain. The cow goes down as well, but it does not matter. The Nexus will fall, and DNS move up 1-0 in the series.
Draft, I think, had a lot of strengths to it. Dudu on the Rumble doing 1 million damage, but Pyoshik on the Pantheon leading the charge. This is the pick with a 100% win rate in the LCK Cup playoffs. It is maintaining that win rate, and you can see why he is piloting it extremely well and demonstrating the pick strength completely.
Yeah.
야 나이스.
천천히 가면서
해봐줄게. 더 봐줘. 박아도 돼. 안 뺏어. 세게.
안 뺏어.
더 볼게. 딜라인 볼게.
일 잡았어.
괜찮아.
나 공 있어.
비전 빠져.
야,
써봐.
이제 노플이야, 이제 노플. 나 수영 켜줄게.
이제 비전 없어. 당장 없어.
이제 노플이야, 이제 노플. 얘도 노플. 노플이야.
가자.
오케이, 가자.
쭉 갈게.
쭉 가봐, 노플이야.
라인 내가 할게. 그냥 가봐. 맞췄어.
미드 탑 가자.